Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl. My name is Brian, and Marjorie Taylor Greene goes nuclear on this British reporter for asking a question that only the bottom of the barrel journalist would ever think to ask. Let's dive in.
Yep. Anybody else?
Should the Defence Secretary...
What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
From the UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
Okay,
and you no. You should care about your own borders.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Do you care
No,
about
by migrants. No, do you care? Okay, you're done.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
You know what? I don't care.
Service members fighting for your country.
I don't care about
and
your
vice
fake news.
president
Do you have a
and your
relevant
defense
question?
secretary?
Yeah, this is an American journalist. Thank you.
I'm an American, and I'd like to hear your answer to what she's asking.
I'm not answering her question
right,
because
I'll
I
ask
don't care about her network. If you would like to ask, I can
Do you
answer.
have any concerns whatsoever about the complete disregard of operational security from the top level of this administration?
You want to know about complete disregard about operational security? You should talk about the Biden administration and how they ripped our borders open to terrorist, cartel, child sex trafficking, human trafficking, and drug trafficking across our borders for 4 years. The Trump administration is doing a great job, and I stand by their statements. I stand by their statements. My comment to you is I'm thankful to President Trump that he is leading us out of wars, that he's ending the war in Ukraine, where American lives could have been killed if Joe Biden was still president today, whether he liked it or not. We're talking about NPR and PBS today. We're talking about fake news that was funded with federal funding from American taxpayers. That's what this is about today, not journalists from the UK that should care about
A
their own.
journalist is being vilified for exposing failings in the way that your government conducts itself. Is that what that journalist is doing?
Oh boy. Oh man, I don't blame MTG for getting this mad at all. I'm not mad at this whatsoever. I don't blame her. She had just gotten out of a Doge committee hearing, having to listen to a ridiculous CEO of NPR defend her just indefensible actions and misuse of federal funds, also from funds of viewers from people like you, thank you, on PBS. And that's what they were wanting to talk about in that committee meeting. And instead, once you get out of that subcommittee meeting, once you get out of an area where you have been grilling people for about 2.5 hours, you immediately have to come to the presses. It's no wonder that athletes and sometimes lawyers as well, when they have to deal with the press immediately afterwards, sometimes things get spicy. And I don't blame her for being spicy at all. And it's not just because of the pressure from the committee. It's the fact that after talking about a main topic for 2.5 hours, you come back and you are immediately accosted by questions about a leaked group chat. That's locker room nonsense. That's something that you talk about at the water cooler with your work buddies. That's something that you talk about at the lunch table. That's gossip that gets spread around where, hey, did you hear about this? And you have a good little laugh and you move on, because when you realize what was in that group chat, one single journalist from the Atlantic? Really? Something doesn't smell right about the group chat. But the real reason this gets brought up over and over and over is not because this has to do with operational security. As a matter of fact, that's part of the reason right there. Did you notice the phrase operational security? First, it was classified information. They were talking about how these strikes are supposed to be all classified, that all these messages are supposed to be encrypted. Well, Signal is encrypted, but the stuff technically isn't classified, particularly if it's being talked about so flippantly to begin with, and when it's dealing with the Houthi rebels that won't stop making trouble down in the Red Sea, where the majority of world shipping ends up going through. Because it's not about operational security either. It is about Democrats trying to get a talking point in place. Remember at the beginning of the Trump administration back in January, everyone was screaming about two things: inflation, and then they were talking about the price of eggs. Well, guess what? Gas prices are starting to drop, egg prices are starting to drop, inflation's starting to get under control. The tariffs have been a little bit tit for tat, and now we're starting to get reports that Canada is getting really, really antsy. They're not happy with these tariffs because now it's starting to hit them where it hurts in their manufacturing and with their metalworks. Yeah, something tells me that the narrative for the mainstream media has needed to shift in order for them to not only be relevant, but start moving it back towards that progressive sphere, and once again moving that Overton window to get people who aren't really paying attention to start once again hating President Trump, particularly after some pretty good starts to this administration. And so, the go back to your own country thing, I think that stands to reason here. We had this little kerfluffle in 1776 where we wrote this fairly famous document called the Declaration of Independence. Naturally, I don't think we care too much about what Great Britain thinks, particularly after bailing them out twice in Europe in the last 120 years. Remember, back-to-back World War champs, baby. Now, this reporter is asking something that does make sense on the surface, but I've gone over this ad nauseum at this point. You are talking about a group chat, all right? And instead of talking about actual operational security, like, I don't know, having open borders, or in the UK's case, you're quite literally not allowed to talk about the issues that are going on countrywide with the new gang affiliations from their own migrant communities. That's been a huge problem over there in the UK. And this reporter is asking about a group chat leak about some potential missile strikes. Yeah, that doesn't pass the smell test with me either. And this reporter wasn't scared away so easily. She kept following after MTG. And again, I don't blame her. That shows that she at least wants a story, but the reality is that's the equivalent of chasing an ambulance. This is ultimately what's going on. Your country is going to have your military fighting a war in Ukraine that's not even a member of NATO. That's a quote from Marjorie Taylor Greene after this video had taken place. Because again, the issue is never the issue. The issue is not operational security. The issue is Europe is constantly asking us these ridiculous questions. They're trying to poke around at our business and basically make us take care of their problems. We're already doing that with the Houthis, and now we're going to have to do that again in Ukraine? We've been doing that for the past couple of years. It has not gone well for anybody. And Europe using Ukraine as a meat shield in order to shield them from the threat of the Russians, I'm sorry, you do not get the high road here. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene's anger is completely justified, not just from a congressional standpoint, but from a geopolitical standpoint as well. It is time for Europe to start realizing that they have used the U.S. as a prop for the past 70 some odd years, and the gravy train is over. Their tariff time, it's over. The way that they've been abusing American business models, over. So yeah, I don't blame MTG for getting this mad at this journalist because she represents a system, particularly the UK system, that can't get its own stuff in control. But hey, look at a group chat. Let's talk about this little leakage that's ultimately nothing more than a gossip story from Vanity Fair. This is ridiculous. Journalists, do better, okay? This is bottom of the barrel muckraking at its worst. And MTG, I don't blame her for a single solitary moment. That's why I'm loving this shirt today. Defund the media. They have been getting money from the U.S. government, particularly in NPR's case, and let's not forget that USAID was the one backing the BBC. Yeah, maybe this journalist should look on her own home front. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on PolitiBrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.